Oh. You have just heard is the Royal Marine Band at the Edinburgh Tattoo. Now just sit back and watch the film.
All empty seats, would you like one? Couple of Herberts walking down the corridor. Oh, look up.
You find it if you want them.
Right, Frank. Here's Kath, just coming out of the duty free.
And I haven't bought a thing.
True.
Put your money in my pocket and left.
This tail. Hold this tail, Dave.
You should have come this other side though.
Go the other side, you can see.
Votre attention s'il vous plaît, nous informons que la vitrine située au numéro 8 arrive pas avant l'arrivée. Just repeating after number 9, pre-cruising 30 minutes, and we are cruising right before arrival. Thank you.
There's Kath and Chuck having another cup of tea.
They got married in 1913.
Here they are on the beach,
November 1914.
at Austrine as the ferry comes in. Not many of them swimming, a few paddling.
Never saw it before.
Just coming up into Cairn now.
Very good.
It's going up the estuary.
Never forgot it.
No.
It's a tartar. Fierce looking.
You find that though, don't you, with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
It's like a policeman, always a policeman.
That's what they say.
Because you weren't a policeman, was you?
Cairn. Last but not least, oh, we got the good-looking ones now. Yeah? All the good ones.
There's any more coming off.
You're the last one.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that.
Don't worry about it, mate. I shall.
Oh, Terry.
Oh, don't forget to give us a wave.
This is where I start to run.
Just wave. Just aboard in here, coach in Cairn for a trip down into Port and Bessin. I'm not sure how long it's going to take us. Go on, Frank. Bye. Don't forget. Peter, having a word.
There we are, look at that smile here.
Touching wood.
Touching wood. The guy
Just out of curiosity, I'm just going to ask, you haven't got any cheese sandwiches, sausage rolls, etc., have you? That, honestly, that is a genuine thing. You're not allowed to bring meat or cheese or anything into the country.
That's it. We're now going through the disinfectant.
Doing that in Australia.
Disinfect the wheels of the coach.
It's quite deep as well, isn't it?
It is. We've probably had troubles. You haven't got so much of them.
They're making sure, mate.
We'll come over on the coach again. I'll just
Go to Luxembourg and fill up.
Yeah, I'd like to see the place. I'm definitely curious. I've never been there, you know. Have you been there, Dave?
Many
Is it a nice little country? Or not?
To be honest, it's the first place in Europe.
Some of you who haven't been here before may possibly like a quick rundown of 47's plan, what it was, what in fact happened, and what you're going to see en route. So, if anybody is interested, they'll stick their hand up. If not, I'll shut up. And
You're interested. Carry on.
okay. The 47 had been selected to carry out the capture of Port-en-Bessin. The importance of this was that the Pluto, the petrol line under the ocean, which had already been 3/4 laid before D-Day, was to come ashore at Port-en-Bessin. And the importance of capturing it as quickly as possible is obvious, because there's a limited amount of time that you can go on filling tanks out of a jerry can.
Speaking of, if you're moving your head, it's not fun.
Ah, sorry, I'm doing the wrong thing. Can you hear back there? Jay, can you hear? Okay. The 47 were to land, this was their plan, on the extreme right of Gull Beach. Incidentally, the beach you saw coming in today on the ferry was the left-hand side of Sword Beach. Going westwards, there was Juneau, where the Canadians and some French landed, and then farther west, Gull Beach, where 47 and loads of others landed. 47 landed on the extreme right, and the intention was to go in approximately a mile and a half, and then turn right and do a 15-mile clandestine march behind enemy lines and end up on point 72, which is a little bump just about a mile and a half behind Port-en-Bessin, from where the attack on the port would take place. And all plans, mice and men and all that jazz, didn't quite come about. The Dorsets and Devons were supposed to have landed and cleared our beach to give us an uninterrupted landing, hopefully with no casualties, so we arrived the other end with a full commando. Alas, this wasn't to happen. On the run in, we came in, we landed, sorry, we didn't land, the two motherships, the Princess Josephine Charlotte and the Victoria, which had brought us over from England, anchored about 7 miles off the coast fairly early in the morning. 47 got on board their landing craft and went ashore when we were about a mile, I suppose, off the coast, it was very clear that the beach we were to land on had not been captured, and it was in an unhealthy state. The CO then gave an order which some people queried, making the flotilla do a 90-degree turn to port, running along the coast, which gave, of course, enemy artillery a much easier chance of their target popping us all off. Still there?
Face and not the microphone.
Okay. I'm being ticked off by our secretary. Anyway,
Switched off.
the net result was land where you can, and it took one hell of a time for our second in command, Paddy Donald, to assemble everybody. Now, of the LCAs, the landing craft assault, the small boats that brought us into the beach, there were 14 of them, of which 5 were hit, 2 were sunk, and finally only 2 of those 14 got back to their mother ships. But 47 Commando formed up under their second in command and started off on this 15-mile march, about a mile and a half off the beach, towards point 72. Point 72 is a little bump which we're going to pass today, and we'll stop and just have a look at it, because there the boys were given 2 hours sleep, a bit of a meal, and then the next day they went on in to capture the port. Thereafter they captured the port with little difficulty. The problem were the 2 features, the western feature and the eastern feature, which were very heavily held, and I'd been given more instruction from Catherine. The Americans were supposed to produce some artillery support for us. Regretfully, they had other business on Omaha Beach, which is about 7-8 miles farther west. So the end of Gold Beach to Port-au-Bassin is about 15 miles, and nobody had landed there, so you were merely running behind enemy lines. The attack went in the following day, was captured, the town was captured at about midnight, and then the boys stayed there for a couple of days before being moved off. I think that was about all. If I've made any mistakes, vets, please come and tell me.
Getting all right.
Yes, no problem, no problem. But to see to yourself, we've seen Catherine. Catherine. Said, no, don't pay me.